Nope. Okay, awesome. All right. Well, hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us via Zoom, I guess we should say. I'm really excited to do this. We obviously wanted to do this in person with all of the wonderful panelists. Oh, hi, Audit. How's it going? And hello, everybody else. I just called you out because you just gave it.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you once again for coming. I think that this will be a really cool way for us as student journalists to talk about some of the experiences that we've had and give advice and just to give that peer-to-peer perspective. I also think it's a cool way to highlight some of the accomplishments that you've had and to hopefully inspire some of our underclassmen and those who may not have had any outside of school experiences to seek those opportunities or those on-campus opportunities as well. So just to start everything off for my panelists, I just want you all to introduce yourselves. Just say your name, year in school, where you are currently located, like right now as we speak, and what you're looking forward to tonight in this conversation.
I can start. My name is Lucy. I'm a senior. I'm currently in my dad's basement in North Carolina. So I'm just excited to talk about kind of what I've done and what's worked for me and how you can find what works for you.
Yeah, I'll go next, I guess. So my name is Io. You probably see like a much longer name or whatever, but whatever, don't focus on that. Just call me Io. I'm in Iowa City. I never left. And I'm a senior.
Awesome. I'll go next. My name is Marissa. I'm a senior as well, here in my bedroom in Iowa City still. Yeah, happy to just give insight into my experiences. I've done 2 internships, one at the Cedar Rapids Gazette and the other at the Philadelphia Inquirer, and I'm currently the editor of the Daily Iowan.
I can go next. My name is Bailey Chihan. I'm a second-year student. I'm currently in Wisconsin at my parents' house. I'm really looking forward to talking about time management and internships. I have 5 jobs currently. Some of them are on campus and some of them are off campus, and I have experience with like internships and stuff at like a younger age. So I want to give that perspective.
Yeah, and my name is Michael. I'm a 3rd-year student at the University of Iowa, and I'm currently still in Iowa City at my apartment in Iowa City, and I'm looking forward to sharing my experiences with all of you and learning from all of you as well.
I guess that just leaves me. My name is Michaela Hughes Shaw. I'm one of the peer mentors here at the University of Iowa. I guess I shouldn't say here because, like I said, we're all in our different spaces. I am a graduating senior, and I have held a couple different internships that I'm sure I'll talk about later in broadcast news. And I've worked for Love Girls magazine for like 7 years. And I also own a nonprofit. So I feel like my experiences are pretty broad when it comes to the different types of communication that you can pursue. So I hope that I can give some insight onto that. I am also in my apartment in Iowa City. I didn't leave. Fun fact, Io and I are like 5 minutes away from each other within walking distance. And I'm, like I said, I'm happy that you all are tuning in, and I hope that this helps at least one student, because if that's the case, then this was all worth it. So
it's a 2-minute distance, so yeah.
It is, it's literally a 2-minute distance. We're almost neighbors. Yeah. All right. So we'll get started with the first question, and panelists, feel free to chime in if you have a fun story to share. We'll probably do about 2 to 3 answers per question just to keep the ball rolling. And also, all the other participants, please feel free to throw questions in the chat function as well, and we can get to those too, because I want this to be beneficial for all of you. So let me find the first question. amongst my many browsers that are open. All right. The first question is, when did you know that you wanted to major in journalism and mass comm, or to pursue a career in journalism or communications?
I'll go first, mostly because my answer is not as cool as probably everyone else's. I never actually knew I wouldn't wanted to like major in journalism and mass comm until like maybe after after maybe the middle of second semester of my sophomore year. I was one of those kids who was like, okay, I'm gonna come in, study whatever I want, and just figure it out along the way. So I came in with international relations, and then I changed to business, and then I like stuck on journalism, mostly because like I believed I was a storyteller. So I was like, oh, okay, I just like telling stories. We'll see how that goes. It's it's the same but very different. Probably should have done English if I really wanted to be a storyteller, I guess. And I guess like I just more fell in love with like video production and making videos, and then that kind of turned into my love for wanting to like create documentaries and do like investigative style journalism for documentary filmmaking and stuff. So yeah, that it's like it was a gradual process and gradually going into things versus like I came into college knowing exactly I don't know anything about life anyways. So yeah, I just figured it out as I went along.
Yeah, I can go next. I had done journalism in high school for my junior and senior years, and I enjoyed it there. But since our paper only printed once a month, I was like, I don't know if that means I'll be capable of like doing journalism in a professional setting. I've just always been someone who's pretty like reserved and quiet, so I found that like by being able to put on this sort of like, journalist role and having a purpose to go talk to people and ask questions, that it got me out of my shell. And yeah, so I appreciated that about journalism. And then coming to Iowa, I started reporting on the University of Iowa Administration and Board of Regents right away. And I don't know, for whatever reason, that stuck. I think a lot of it's because I'm a first generation college student. So by reporting kind of authoritatively on the Board of Regents and what the university president's up to, it was empowering for me to go from someone who like didn't understand a whole ton about the higher education system to someone who can communicate to an audience about like all these major decisions that the university is making. So yeah, it just kind of stuck after my experiences at the Daily Iowan.
I can go. I'm actually consider myself super lucky. I've known I've wanted to do this since the fourth grade. Like we have a poster in my garage of like my fourth grade project saying what you want to be when you grow up, and I wanted to be on TV. So I've always wanted to do it. I've always had a pretty loud personality. I've always been able to communicate well with others, and I like to tell stories. So came to Iowa with the intent of covering Hawkeye athletics. I got to do that, which was awesome. And then through my time covering Hawkeye athletics, I got to build a really, really strong brand for myself and become a real staple in Iowa media, which I'm super proud of. And it's been a grind, but it's been a fun one.
I love that story, Lucy. Thank you, everybody who shared as well. But it's funny because I was thinking back, I actually found an old cover letter that I wrote when I had first started college and had no idea what I was doing. But I told the story of when I was in fourth grade and I wrote an entire magazine, like with markers and colored pencils. And I asked my friends to put in an article. Like I said, had no clue what I was doing, but I feel like that was one of my earliest memories of knowing that I wanted to communicate with people. So that's really sweet that you knew that really early on as well. All right, our next question what was your first student, gosh, I can't talk. What was your first student media job or internship, and in what year of school did you do that? And this could also date back to high school as well, if you want to share about that.
I can go. So in high school, I had the opportunity to intern for one of our local newspapers, and then I was approached by another media company to write for them. It was great experience, but it wasn't like the mentoring environment that I needed. But I came to college knowing that I wanted to be involved with like Fools Magazine, and potentially like Daily Iowan down the road. But my first internship was actually the second semester, or yeah, the second semester of my freshman year. I worked with Paul Jensen, our internship coordinator, to connect with an alumni named Caitlin Scott, who was working at Cosmopolitan, but then she had moved on to Love Stories TV, which is the first video platform for wedding videos. I had a lot of experience working in the wedding industry. In high school, I worked there. Sophomore year on, I still do social media work for that bridal boutique. So that was a really good fit for me, and I was able to intern remotely while doing classes my freshman year. I carried that internship into my summer, and I still have a really good relationship with them. That helped me get my job working for the university social media team and everything else that came after. I work for Daily Iowan TV as a reporter. I'm going to be the news director next year. Really excited about that. And then I've had really great opportunities. I was set to do a fellowship this summer in New York City. It unfortunately got canceled because of the virus, but I was going to be starting the Snapchat channel for Law and Crime, the network that's Law and Crime, which is really cool.
I'll answer that question as well. So when I started at the University of Iowa, I knew that I wanted to be, a, journalist. I wanted to be in broadcast. So I went to all these. I went to the student org fair, and one of the organizations that caught my eye was KRUI Radio, which is the University of Iowa's campus radio station. And I went to one of the recruitment meetings, and I joined the training department. I joined as the assistant training director, because if you were in the training department, you didn't have to go through what they call general rotation, whereas you have your show and you just spin music for the first half of it. And then you have to do that for 6 months until you can have your own specialty show. And I wanted to have my own specialty show right away. So I decided that I was going to be the assistant training director in exchange for being able to say whatever I wanted on the radio. And it was a great experience. We really focus on at KRUI that it's a learning environment, as well as a radio station. So you had the opportunity to make mistakes, to mess up and learn from them, and really be as creative as you wanted to with it. So that was kind of my first experience with campus media.
I think I'll answer a little bit. Clearly, I'm not like everyone else who kind of knew what they wanted to do, but I started working as a producer for the Daily Iowan TV last semester, because I was more intrigued about the position and I wanted to learn a little bit more about TV. I'm not someone who's interested in being in front of the camera. I don't like that. I would more rather be behind the scenes and try to control stuff, or try to see how things can go visually. And also because, like I said, I like to be behind the scenes and stuff like that. I also I work for KRUI as well, and I did radio for a little bit. So yeah, I enjoy doing both things because they're both interesting to me. Radio was very different from TV in the sense that maybe there was a little bit more freedom to just have more steady conversation with people on air, and the people around me, versus on TV. It's very ordered. Everything you do is pretty well put together, and it's done kind of the way you envision it to be done. So I don't have a personal favorite. I think both are good, especially maybe the ordered one, because I'm not even gonna say that. I'm a very interesting type of person where putting things in order is not probably my favorite thing to do, but learning how to do it has been a process, and I've enjoyed the process. So yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you everybody for your answers. We will move on to the next question. Actually, wait, before that, Marissa, we have a question specifically for you, and that is when does the time to apply at the DI for the fall semester begin? So can you answer that really quickly?
Yeah, we're always taking people for any time period, especially like there's a lot of uncertainty right now. So if people are interested in working at the DI and they know that's something they want to do next fall, we're happy to let them know they'll have a place on our DI team. So yeah, people are welcome to reach out to people from the DI at any time.
So she's saying apply. So go ahead and apply. That's awesome. I will ask this question and then I will answer it and then I'll let you all answer it. But how did you get that first internship or that first job? And what advice would you have for someone who is looking to get either that first internship or that first job? And my biggest advice, and something that I think that everybody should do, is to try it and just see if you like it, because you never know if just putting that first foot forward will actually lead you in a completely different career path than you had originally expected. I think it's important to give what you like, what you know that you like, a try as well, but also try out some of the other mediums. If you never have seen yourself in radio, maybe still give it a try. If you've never seen yourself in newspaper, once again, another chance to just give something a try. And just be bold and be honest. A lot of the student run organizations on campus know that you may have little to no experience, but that's okay. This is the time for you to gain that experience. This is the time to make the mistakes. So then that way you will be much more prepared as you walk into the next stage. So yes. But anybody else, advice that you would give to somebody seeking that first opportunity?
I would say just internships in general. I've had 3 internships since I was at Iowa. My first one was in event planning with the National Sports Media Association in North Carolina. And I remember applying for so many different internships that year, and I didn't get anyone except for that one. And I really, that was not what I wanted to do. That event planning is awesome, but it's not what I'm interested in. And so from there, I took an internship when I got back my next year with KCRG doing news reporting. And I don't want to be a news reporter, but I learned a lot through that. And then I finally got my dream internship with Spectrum Sports Networks, which is a sports network owned by the Lakers and Dodgers in Los Angeles. And so I have a lot of people ask me about internships all the time. I applied for over 100 before I got that Spectrum one, and that was the only one I heard back from that wasn't a no. And so you have to take internships and jobs, like Michaela said, that you may not be exactly what you want, may not be what you think you're interested in, but if you take those, one, you're going to learn if you like it or not, and that's super important, and two, you can put it on your resume. I would have never gotten that dream internship in LA if I hadn't taken those 2 internships in Winston-Salem and Cedar Rapids, even though those weren't things I necessarily wanted to do in the future.
I think another thing that you need to focus on is using your network and taking initiative and just being persistent. So I remember applying for my first job. It was at the bridal boutique. And I remember, showing up like 3 or 4 times after not hearing back from them. You have to go into people's like email inboxes and follow up if you don't hear from them. If you apply for something, you don't hear back, just keep messaging. Even if that's like a couple months later, a couple weeks later, just keep that correspondence back and forth, because that shows that like you really want to work for them and they like that.
Okay, awesome. We can do the next question, which is, oh, I like this one. What did that first internship teach you? Lucy, I know you just touched on that. You didn't necessarily want to do the first couple of things that you did, but what did they teach you specifically?
So my first internship was with the National Sports Media Association, like I said, and it was a lot of event planning and random kind of busy work tasks. And it taught me that I didn't want to work in in event planning, and that's super important. Now I know I'm never going to do that, but it also taught me how to network because I got to meet so many influential media members through that internship, and now those are connections. And like Bailey said, networking is so important. So um, I got that network there. And then my second internship with KCRG, um, I was an okay sports reporter before I took that news internship. After I took that news internship, I was a really good sports reporter. Once you learn how to do different variations of your field, you grow so much in what you wanted to do. Because I wasn't doing the sports aspect, I was just doing the hardcore reporting aspect. I'm a much better reporter. If I can go and put together a minute and a half story on winter conditions and how people with disabilities deal with those, I can easily put together a minute and a half story on Luca Garza's incredible season. It just, you have to practice and get all those reps. And it's a really interesting, it's to do something you don't like makes you better at what you do like, if that makes sense.
Okay, I'll answer. And so when I first started working at the DI, like it was new and a little uncomfortable. And I will say that it's because it's things that like I know a little bit about, but I wasn't like I didn't know about like well enough. So learning in a very like in an uncomfortable environment is important because you will be in situations like that when you're just starting out. You're not going to be perfect at whatever you're doing. um you're not going to be like the greatest like when you first start, which is what I had to learn the hard way. So like my first instinct in most of that situation, in that particular situation, was to quit and not want to do it anymore. But one thing like I feel like people should just understand is like really just like go through it and tough it out. You will learn a lot from just toughing it out. And so that like when you're put in a similar situation in a real like outside like world environment, you're uncomfortable, but you know how to you know how to work through things.
Can I ask a question on some of that?
Yeah.
How do you, okay, I kind of understand internships. I've been offered 2 for the summer pending CV-19, but one of them is something that I do not like to do, and that is write articles. I will investigate, I will take pictures, I will dig, but I hate writing. I spent 3 years out of Kirkwood on their paper, and I wrote 4 articles in 3 years. But it's just something I can't stand to do. How do you get over that? You know, oh, here's your internship, but you're going to have to write. I hate to turn something down, but do you just go for it? I guess that's the biggest question.
I mean, well, someone could probably also answer this question too, and you should definitely, but I think I'll say like, if there are really no other options for you, like internship wise, I really think like you should really just tough it out. Because if you can get this internship with writing, I think, kind of like with Lucy, like you will do something you don't like just to get you to do something that you actually end up liking at the end of the day. So
Okay.
if you have to kind of tough it out and do some writing, just do some writing and you'll become a better writer. You'll still hate it, but you'll become a better writer. And you might, like 2%, you might end up actually liking it. So yeah.
You just
Thank you.
imagine how much more marketable you become by saying that, oh, I have experience writing too, like I'm a skilled writer. It's such an important trait that people look for. Lots of jobs require writing tests at the, like now I would just say you're going to grow your skills. You're not going to like what you're going to do. And it sucks, but it's a couple months. You can kind of grin and bear it through it. And yeah, I think it's definitely worth taking.
Thank you.
Yeah, it'll help you move forward. My first internship, like actual official internship, I was a intern with KWQC TV6 in the Quad Cities, and I was definitely, you hear that stereotype of an intern that just kind of does busy work. All I did was log video. That was like the biggest part of my role, and I would go out on the scene with reporters, but they never let me like get on camera or anything like that. But that helped set me up for the next summer to say, hey, I've already, been in this space. I know how everything functions. And then that led me to being able to get a far better internship the next time. But I feel like in the beginning, any experience is experience, and it just helps you become more marketable and build up your resume.
If I can add on that too, like your first internship is a good way to figure out just like how a different sort of setting works. Like I had 2 years at the Daily Iowan before my internship at the Cedar Rapids Gazette. And it's like daunting to go experience like a different newsroom. But it taught me how to like advocate for myself in a different setting, and to say like, this is what I want to get out of the internship, and to know that like, yes, I'm here to put out content for this organization, but this is also my learning opportunity to get something out of the internship as well, and to take advantage of all these people in the newsroom with more reporting knowledge and all these different skills that I don't have yet. So not being afraid to say like, this is the kind of work I want to do, and I would like it if you guys can help like coach me to do this sort of stuff.
Thank you all.
Yeah, those were all great. Thank you guys. All right, next question. Who would you say, actually, we have a couple questions in the chat. I will do those first. First question, is there anything you would recommend doing for someone who wants to do film and editing? Maybe that's more of a, who would say that they're visual? Maybe just Io?
I can help.
Lucy, go first, actually.
Yeah.
Hey, Cole. I remember you. I gave you a tour. So if you're still interested in sports, I would say a really awesome opportunity for that would be to try to, when you get to campus, work within the athletic department, because they have a ton of student video interns. Oh, that was really tough to say. They have a ton of student video interns, and so they're on the field during the game, and they're using really nice equipment. And you've seen like the videos like Hawkeye Sports puts together. They're really, really quality. So it's a super good way to get that experience. The Daily Iowan's a good way too, but usually with DITV, a lot of the reporters are on air and they're telling stories too. So if you want to have that aspect too, it's kind of tough to have a photog in a student run station like that. Internships are a great opportunity for that. Everyone wants someone who wants to be a photographer. So a photog can be someone who takes pictures, but it's also someone who takes video and edits that video. So there are tons of opportunities, but student video productions, Hawkeye Sports, all that stuff will be they're great chances for you. And Hawkeye Sports gets paid like decently well, I'm pretty sure too. That's nice.
I'm gonna add to that too and say like definitely I believe that the DI, and I think Marissa, you can definitely like speak more on this than I can, but I do know that the DI has a filmmaking aspect. I think it's more documentary filmmaking, so they're like going deeper into that this year, and I believe they're doing like a 3-semester situation like coming soon. So if you want to get more into filmmaking in that respect, I think that would be a really cool way to do, like storytelling. Another one is definitely just join student orgs that are like focused on filmmaking and film production, and take some film classes if you know that this is what you really want to do, or if this is something like you want to focus on. I've taken a few film classes and I really enjoyed all of them. So and also just like producing too, like it's definitely very different when you're like doing TV production versus actual like video production. They're pretty different. So just like diversifying yourself and just trying to figure out what you like and what you don't like if this is your first year, because you did a tour, so I'm guessing this is probably your first year or something. So just go around, like you have time, you really have all the time in the world, so do as many different things. You're in college, do whatever you want. It'll take time for you to really figure out what exactly you like. You may do some production and figure you absolutely hate it, so you never know. Just like try everything and like figure it out.
Yeah, and one other question that we had in the chat was, how soon can you apply for internships? Michael, would you like to speak on this? I feel like, and Bailey,
Yeah,
actually. I'm gonna pick on both of you, but Michael first.
I think she's picking on us because she knows we've applied for a lot of internships. But I would say it's never too early to apply for an internship. There are definitely, like larger organizations, like for example, like NPR and like the New York Times. What they have a fellowship program, but different organizations have like their set timeline. Like we're gonna have the application open from September to December, and then let you know in March or whatever. So definitely be vigilant on those. I know Paul does a really good job about like sending out when those applications open and when the deadlines are. So definitely like keep an eye on your Iowa email. But other jobs, other workplaces don't have, like set internships, or they say like just like email us. So like definitely like email people even if they don't have an internship program right now. Maybe you can be their first intern. And I know that's something. When I interned in DC this summer, I interned at the International Finance Corporation. One of my roommates was still looking for an internship, and went to Axios. We did a little tour there of Axios, which is like this really cool, innovative, journalism shop. They're doing a lot of newsletter stuff, producing a lot of great content. And we went there on like a little tour with the program that we were with our housing partner. And he was asking a lot of great questions, and then one thing led to another, and he was their first intern at Axios, and that launched their internship program this past summer. So definitely just like reach out to people, ask questions, ask if they have internships available. If not, maybe ask if you can volunteer there. Maybe that can lead to something. So I would definitely, it's never too soon to start, sniffing around.
So it's really funny, Michael, that you talk about like making an internship for yourself. My would-be summer at Law and Crime TV, they had just started their social media department, and I would have been their first social media intern. You really just have to ask questions. Another thing, when you're applying for internships, if it's something in New York, ask if they can do it remote. Everybody's learning how to do things remotely because of this pandemic. That's a great question to ask because sometimes they don't think about that. If this question was in related to like when in my college career should I apply for an internship, that's up to you. I think that you will make time for something when it's important to you. I think a lot of people when they come in their freshman year, they're like, oh my gosh, I wanna try everything and I wanna have all these classes and I don't know what that's gonna look like and how my time management is going to look. As somebody who did an internship while taking classes my freshman year, you will find time. Was it hard? Yes, I stayed up very late some days trying to get stuff done for my internship, but that helped me to get some really cool jobs my second year. So I work for this university social media team. That was a brand new position, and I don't think I would have gotten that if I had not interned at Love Stories TV that semester that I applied for it. So if you want to start asking people, don't look down on companies because they're smaller. Like any internship is a good internship. Really what you're trying to do is build your resume, build skills, and build your network. So anytime.
And it's funny that you said, or you started talking about your internship on campus, Bailey, because there's a question in here that I think you'd be the perfect person to answer, and I'll piggyback off of whatever it is that you say, but do you have any suggestions for PR, specifically social media opportunities or internships around campus during the school year? So I feel like that was made for you.
So like every department and school and everybody has social media. Every student org has social media. So there's so many opportunities because people are really looking for somebody who's skilled at doing really good communication and also beautiful communication, having a good style for their organization. So yes, I work for the university. That's a position that's available to students. I get paid, which is really cool. But there's a lot of smaller, I think one of the social media interns for the SJMC is actually in this call right now. But there's opportunities within the School of Journalism within everybody. Like really just think of a place and they'll have social media. So it's just a matter of finding who to contact about that. But yeah, there's so many opportunities.
Yeah, you brought a different aspect into that than I even remembered. Thinking about every single student org needs a PR person or a social media person or a marketing. It could be named so many different things. But there are student opportunities right here on campus, and SJMC is always in need of social media help as well. So just be open and be willing to reach out and put yourself out there. Like I said, don't be afraid of the lack of experience that you have, because this is the time to build up that experience. So thank you, everybody. Okay, shifting gears just a little bit, but this will be fun. What has been your favorite SJMC memory? And I'd love to hear this probably from everyone.
All right. Well, I think my favorite SJMC memory. Um, this is gonna sound so funny. So when I first joined the DI, I was like probably it's like yeah. So I was probably a little stressed out, and I wasn't really getting to work with people, and because I don't work well with people, I kind of just like flare up. And when I flare up, I will just come at anybody that comes in my way at that point. So so I have two favorite SJMC moments, which is now I'm like good with both people in this chat. And so one was Marissa, where I basically came at her, and I was just like, listen, like I need something done, and she really wasn't helping me out with it. But it taught me a lot in that moment how to basically not be such a hothead. and and have to just relax in multiple situations. And probably second one would also be Lucy too. I didn't even come at Lucy, to be honest, but I was, yeah. So I would say those were very interesting moments where that was a growing moment for me, where I was just like, okay, I need to relax and just calm down and take the learning process and just grow with it. So yeah. Go on, Marissa.
I'm going to clear the record on that one. It was city council election night, and Io asked me something about I don't remember what the story.
It was about TikTok. It was so
TikTok.
dumb.
So I was like, my girl, like there's democracy is calling, local elections are here. I don't know. That was where my head was at. But and then we ended up going on a trip to DC together through the J School for a whole week. We bonded, like,
yeah, it was fun. Yeah, we are. So yeah, so I think those are usually some of my hardest moments are usually my favorite moments because I end up growing from them. So yeah, Marissa, you're a real one.
You too.
I can go next. Sorry, my sister just threw me my debit card. I would say it's tough to pick a favorite memory. I have had a really remarkable year. I've gotten to do a lot of awesome stuff through what I've learned through the journalism school. So I don't think I could pick one. I would just say I went from going to the Iowa women's tennis meet against Iowa State and just jotting down 1,010 notes. I was so nervous. It was my first event I ever covered. I was shaking to creating a brand for myself and becoming kind of my own like weird little household name in Iowa, which is super crazy. I mean, I got a fat head. That's really cool. That's probably my top moment because I don't know if you can count it as SJMC, but I would count it because I have a fat head. I can do whatever I want. So it's just, I would say I have gotten, this is it. Okay, I changed my answer. Done. Starting over. I've gotten to meet a lot of remarkable people and tell a lot of remarkable stories over the past year. I got to go tailgating and meet tons of Iowa fans. I've gotten to get to know athletes like Luca Garza and Nate Stanley and Kathleen Doyle super well and get to tell their stories and be a part of this awesome community. And that is easily my favorite moment, memory, everything. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, let's see. I don't know, it's definitely hard to choose because it's been a really awesome 4 years. I mean, I can't really talk about my experience at the University of Iowa outside of the lens of the Daily Iowan because that's where I've spent like pretty much every waking moment of my 4 years. So that for me, like that collective experience of just being in the newsroom pretty much every day and night, making something as wonderful as the Daily Iowan with the team that I work with. I'll never forget that whole experience. But I mean, there definitely are like certain times that stand out more than others. Like earlier this year, winning Newspaper of the Year from the Iowa Newspaper Association for the DI's first time since 1981. Yeah, it's something we've accomplished only just a couple times in history. Um, and Jeff, who's here in this chat, that fun story with that. So Jeff had just joined the DI as a photographer at the beginning of second semester, and he also he was the photographer the night that we won Newspaper of the Year in Des Moines. So he was doing work for the INA folks, and he knew a couple of weeks before we had any idea that we had won Newspaper of the Year. So he's just like chilling, taking photo assignments, working at this organization, sitting on this huge secret that we were all going to be professional papers like the Des Moines Register and win Newspaper of the Year. So yeah, like props to Jeff for keeping that secret. And that, yeah, it was a really special night and awesome just to receive all the support from Iowa media outlets and the university community during that whole experience.
So I think Michaela and I might have like a similar experience. I'm not sure if this is your favorite, Michaela, but Michaela and I went on a trip to New York this year with a group of students. We worked with a Hawkeye alum, Jeff Grismore, who's the CEO of EGR International, and we worked with him to come up with a new brand architecture for the School of Journalism and Mass Communication. And then he took us to New York to meet other alums who were working in the industry. So we got to go to NBC, Law and Crime, Time Magazine. I'm like blanking on all these. Time Magazine, and then Small Girls PR. And we kept running into all these different Hawkeyes, and it was just like this great feeling that I'm a part of this amazing organization where Hawks help Hawks. And my favorite part of that trip was we ran into Harry Smith, who's a senior correspondent at NBC, and we're talking to him, and everybody's like freaking out. And I hear somebody like doing a mic check behind us, and I turn around and I see Lawrence Jackson, who's one of the anchors for their Snapchat show, Stay Tuned. And I flip out because I want to work for Stay Tuned. Everybody's like over here talking to this like super famous guy, and I'm like, what about the stuff right behind us? And we walked right past, and I was like so starstruck. I remember just like, what is my life? Like I was in the same room as these people. It was amazing. As like a 19-year-old person, like that doesn't happen. So I guess my favorite memory is just like all the different opportunities that I've had because of our alumni network and because of the Friends of the University.
Yes, Bailey was really so excited to see him. I will never forget that moment. That's also one of my favorite memories, just going to New York, the vibes of the city, meeting so many people that are actually doing the work, and young people that are doing the work that really gave me a sense of hope, because everyone always says, I'm sure you all have heard these comments like, oh, journalism's so cutthroat, and oh, you're going to be so poor, and all of these negative things. But most of the news organizations that we visited were run by young people. And so it was so encouraging. It really was. And this is cheesy, but my other favorite memory is just being able to work as a peer mentor this year. I took off a year of school to fulfill my duties as Miss Iowa 2018. I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but there it is. And coming back and just feeling the support of the School of Journalism, it was really great. And also just being able to pass on any kind of knowledge that I gained has been so rewarding. Seeing everybody's faces in the Student Center, these are things that I'm definitely going to miss as we move on into adulthood. So.
Yeah, I'll share my two favorite memories from my time at the School of Journalism. Number one, the professional one being able to cover the 2020 Iowa caucuses was a really incredible experience. Being able to, interview, United States senators one-on-one. I got to interview, Cory Booker. I got to be in a scrum asking Elizabeth Warren questions next to like national reporters like Ed O'Keefe from CBS This Morning. I got to interview Pete Buttigieg and Andrew Yang before they were household names. So a lot of incredible experiences covering the 2020 Iowa caucuses. There's a great place to be, especially in an election year if you're interested in political journalism. And then personal favorite moments have just been spending all of my nights at the student center at the School of Journalism. Signing all those people in, being there for the pizza, for the study nights, for the relaxation nights, for the hot cocoa. Those have been some of the best times of my college career. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that was everybody's memories. Thank you for sharing those. And I have one more now that I'm thinking about it. I won oh gosh, is it called the Silver Spoon in the class with, oh, you did too, Lucy?
I won that. Yeah, we did.
Look at
We
that.
did. Lucy and
I didn't want to
yes,
give
on
it
the same-
away. I didn't want to give it away, so I didn't bring it up, but that was fun.
Oh, you won that too?
No, I
No,
didn't
you
win
didn't,
it, but
Michael.
I didn't win it, but I didn't want to bring up the Charles and Angie's class because I didn't want to give anything away. But
Oh, yeah. We can't talk about, sorry, you guys that aren't, you guys might be really lost, but breaking news is still happening, so we can't talk about it. They're just going to do a remote breaking news, but that's a conversation we could have at a later date. That was by far my favorite classroom experience. Nothing.
I agree.
Nothing. Okay. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing this question, but I think it's important to bring up. So what is your dream job? Like, what do you hope to do after you graduate? A couple of us are graduating, but even Bailey, everybody answer this one too. What's your dream job after school?
Well, right now the dream is to have a job.
Yeah, retweet.
Yeah. No, I mean, I really love investigative reporting and anything that can like hold people accountable. So just any way that I can keep doing that, I would be happy. Yeah, I've kind of gained a different perspective, like even just in the last month, sitting at home reflecting on what's important to me with COVID-19 going on. Like I think at some point I'd like to work out in DC and do reporting on the federal government. But for now, like I would kind of just like to stay in the Midwest and do the important work that needs to be done on the local level to hold people accountable, because there's a need for good journalism across all different levels. So
I can go next. I mean, Marissa said it when it's just trying to get a job right now. I don't know exactly where I want to be, in a few months or a year from now, but I through this year and my experiences at Iowa, I've realized that my favorite part of my job is getting to interact with people. So I want to continue to find a place that I can talk about sports and talk with people about sports and have fun and interact with people. If I could have a job that could showcase my personality and I just want to have a good time and do work, but have a good time. So hopefully somewhere down the road there's a job like that, I would love to be a Katie Nolan and host a late night sports show or something like that. But as long as I get to, have some fun, maybe get a fat head or two in there, I'm okay.
Okay, I'll go next. Yeah, basically like everyone, because I think we're all graduating seniors at right now, and it's just a struggle situation at the moment. But I really love video producing. I love producing videos. I love making videos. So I want I'd probably try to start off here, anywhere in the United States at this point, doesn't really matter. But just like making documentaries or doing investigative reporting that could basically lead to a documentary film, something like that. That's really just what I like doing, and probably not probably definitely go back home to my home turf, Nigeria, at some point, and just continue doing that there, because there's so much going on over there that is not always being told properly. So and not enough people know the truth over there. So I definitely just want to go back. I don't want to go to jail, but I might. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes down when I eventually goes back. So yeah, that's really what I want to do.
Please don't go to jail.
So we're living in this really interesting time where like social media and traditional broadcast TV are crossing over and working together. So like I said before, I'm really interested in what Stay Tuned is doing with NBC, either Rundown, that's E's show with Aaron Lim. I love those shows and I'd love to be a part of that, whether that's behind the camera, like producing, or in front of the camera, one can dream. But I'm really interested in that, and anything with social media. I love video. So I still have a couple years until I graduate. So I'm still figuring out what I like to do. And next year when I'm news director, I'm going to be learning a lot different stuff, and I'm definitely going to learn what I like and don't like. So I'm looking forward to that experience to help me find my dream job.
I'd like to say, being a non-traditional student, if you can't tell, I've hit a lot of my bucket list in life. And when I graduate, knock on wood, more investigative report, more photojournalism investigation. I've also working on the side of forensic photojournalism. So those are my goals. A year and a half, hopefully. I figure as much crime as there is out there, there's got to be jobs. So, but that's, yeah. Real quick, didn't get an experience. Coming to the DI was the biggest culture shock and eye-opener I've ever had in my life. Coming from a community college newspaper that prints once every 2 weeks, and I walk into this beehive of activity. That was my greatest thing with the School of Journalism as of thus far. Had no clue. It was just like, what? You guys go out every day? Nobody told me this. I have to have my pictures in when? I love it. I appreciate it. And it's maybe a better photographer. So that's my greatest experience thus far at the School of Journalism.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. I know it's crazy. I remember when I worked at the DI for a whopping 3 months. I didn't last past that. I had a lot of things going on though. And it's not because the work taught me so much. It was really, really good experience. But I had just started competing in pageantry, and it slowly took over my life. So that's why I didn't survive any longer. But I think we're really lucky. We're really fortunate to have outlets like CareUI and the Daily Iowan and Fools, like real publications. And that's not every school has that high quality of a publication, and it teaches you to be a better journalist for sure. So I'm happy that you've had a good experience with that. Well, actually, it's funny that a couple of you brought up the fact of even just hoping to get a job. I'm also in that boat. A lot of my interviews and my leads for positions have kind of been stalled, and it's starting to get to me just a little bit. I'm trying to stay positive. So I have two questions within this one question. If you had an internship or have an internship coming up, how has that been impacted by the pandemic? And for seniors, how are you being impacted in your job search as we're kind of moving through this? I'll speak on both quickly. Like I said, job leads have kind of been paused, so now it's a matter of waiting. This pandemic is impacting every single business, including news. And so that's something that's really important to consider. And then also, I was supposed to move to Arizona actually for an investigative reporting fellowship with News 21. It's like a big collaborative long form project, but we are now doing it remotely. So Bailey, when you were talking about that social media and that broadcast kind of coming together, a lot of the work that they do is documentary style. And so now we're figuring out how in the world can we do a documentary if we can't go out into the field. So it's been really interesting. And that's how it's impacted me. But I want to hear from you all. How has it impacted you on this, in this really unprecedented time?
Yeah, so it's crazy. So the day that like everything seemed to end when like Rudy Gobert and Tom Hanks, we all found out they had the coronavirus and we kind of realized like things are going to end. I had a job interview the day before that, an in-person job interview, and they said, "Oh, we'll get to you next week. We'll talk to you then." And so it went from I literally had a job interview, and the next day the world was over. And since then, it's really flatlined. And it's just kind of one of those things where it like sucks. I know that every single student who's graduating right now is in any field, not even just journalism, is definitely having a tough time figuring out what's next. So yeah, my job hunt, it's still activism. I'm trying and applying everywhere. But I mean, it's very hard to be a sports reporter with no sports to report on. So it's just kind of as simple as I apply when I find a job. I stay upbeat because I know I'm capable of getting a job and I will get a job, but kind of I'm at the mercy of when sports come back and when things kind of calm down again. So yeah, all my leads kind of crapped out, and it sucks, but I mean, we're all here, right?
Yeah, I had an experience similar to Lucy too. I think it was in like the sometime in the week or two before spring break. I had interviewed with Report for America, and I made it on from like the national stage to um, there's like a second stage where you've narrowed down like a newsroom that you would choose to work with, and they then interview like a bunch of finalists and make their selection from there. So it was like at some point I had scheduled an interview with the newsroom, and like 2 days after they'd reached out to everyone to schedule interviews, they were like, sorry, we actually can't afford to hire any Report for America Corps members. And there were like other programs as well, or other newsrooms that have the same experience in Report for America. So um, yeah, that, lost lead there. And there's been some other hiring processes that I was moving along in that were put on hold. I may still have something. Like I've talked to an editor, and there will be like a few openings somewhere in Iowa. But yeah, I'm still waiting for like final word on that. So hopefully I may actually have a job in the next few weeks, but don't want to jinx it. So
Um, yeah, so I think, yeah, I'll go next. And I don't think it's any different from like, Marissa or Lucy's story at this point. I've applied for jobs and most of them basically got back to me and said, hey, we're so sorry, we're not hiring right now. Until the COVID threat has gone down, like, businesses are kind of really struggling right now. And I think the news is just trying to keep whoever they have, and anyone who was probably planning on moving on from the job they had now to like something else, they obviously cannot move because, they want to be secure in whatever paycheck they have. So yeah, it's really, really, really tough. But I don't even know how the heck I'm trying to find a brighter side in everything because, I have you know, my stuff is like video production, and I'm trying to be like sane throughout this time. So just going out and just filming stuff and trying to find a story somewhere is really all I've been doing. Um, and just like going off of that, the only thing that is frustrating is, you know, the editing software, but hey, I'll figure it out at some point. So yeah, so yeah, it has been a it's been very like different, but I think hopefully somebody actually tells me, hey, like you can start to earn money sooner or later because I need cash. So yeah. So we'll see. Eventually, hopefully something comes up. But yeah, but thus far though, nothing really like positive has happened from the COVID-19. But hopefully the world wakes up from this nightmare at some point.
So I had a summer fellowship in New York City, and then with that, an internship with the Law and Crime Network. Right now, the fellowship has been canceled, and I'm able to reapply next year. So that summer in New York might still it will likely still happen for me. Right now, I'm just working with Law and Crime to see if I'm able to do my internship remotely. I've applied for some other stuff just in case, but I haven't heard back from that yet. So I'm signed up for a summer class. I'm prepared to just do whatever around my hometown, hoping that like the restaurants open back up so I can get like a waitressing job for some cash flow. But other than that, it's just kind of waiting until we get back in the fall, which hopefully everything goes as planned and we are back for classes in the fall.
Michael, I think it's just you.
Oh, okay. So I'm not graduating quite yet. So I don't have to look for a job. Although I did have a job for the summer, and I still do have a job. I I went through this program that hires you to work on to the general election campaign from the summer through the end of the general election, and I was actually going to move out to Arizona um, June 1st, but that's kind of been, it hasn't been put on hold. I still have the job and I will still be working. I think it's just like everything's been getting, pushed back. You know, there's not a lot of information about how the onboarding process will work, that kind of thing. Which makes sense because we don't know, when the threat will allow us to get back to work. So because of that, I've been rethinking my options. I've also applied for a variety of other jobs to see if I find any leads with those, but it's been very slow hearing back from them. But I am also just considering working on the general election campaign just for the summer and then coming back to school in the fall. I was originally going to take the fall off, but I'm rethinking some things, rethinking some grad school things, looking longer term, and maybe working on the campaign the entire time won't be in the cards. So I'm still considering my options.
Yeah, it sounds like everybody is in about the same boat. Please continue to stay encouraged. Like Lucy said, we're all capable. We will eventually get a job, even if it's not right away. The world still needs us communicators, which is exciting. It's funny because anybody that's ever doubted your major now, I think we're learning more than ever how important it is to keep doing what we're doing. So. Absolutely. I'm going to open it up for any other questions from the general participants, but outside of that, those are all of my questions. Does anybody else have like a final like nugget, a piece of inspiration that they want to leave everybody with? Oh, hold on. I do see a chat. Hang in there, everyone. Yes, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you, Zach. But yeah, like throw some inspiration my way, throw some knowledge my way.
Put yourself out there and do everything that you can. I've mentioned at the beginning, I have 5 different jobs, think 4 of them are media related. So that's really awesome for me because I'm doing social media and TV and like all this other crazy stuff, and I'm getting all those experiences. So if you can do multiple things and try different areas, that's going to make you super marketable. It's going to boost your resume. You're going to stand out. So just do everything that you can. Make time for it.
I think, my little nugget is like, you guys, we have so much time right now. And so if you want to go crazy, not crazy. I mean, like, go crazy, like do some like media stuff, just like go make a YouTube channel if that's what you've always wanted to do. We'll start something, man. Like, we literally have nothing else to do. So go do something. Like, be entertained in your platform and just do something fun and crazy. I have no idea if I will personally start a YouTube channel. I don't know about that, but just like be innovative and just try something you've probably never tried before. It'll be over before we truly know it, but this may really last for a while too. So don't lose heart. Not me, Michael. So we'll see.
I would just say, sorry, that was my brother. I would just say that even though it is like a weird time and there isn't journalism and there isn't like sports going on, well, that's specific to me. But since we're all in this weird boat, a lot of people who are really experienced in the field are doing really awesome opportunities for young journalists like us. So just stay on the lookout for those. I would say within the past month, I have gotten to be a part of like 4 or 5 Zoom panels, channels, whatever, like this, with crazy experienced people who I've looked up to. And they went from being someone I followed on Twitter and idolized to someone who I had right in front of me, and I was able to ask those questions. So I would just say that if there definitely is, everyone is going through this too, including people who you've idolized and who have the job that you want to have. There's probably no better time than right now to reach out to them because everyone's at home bored. Everyone's not doing anything. So like, if you want to go talk to Jane Slater from NFL Network like I did, you have the opportunity to go do that now. So I would just say that this is a great time to network. Like, it really is a phenomenal time to network. So just keep your eyes peeled for that stuff. I see it on social media all the time. It's a really good chance to get to know people who can help you.
That's awesome advice. Paul, I see that you unmuted yourself. Do you want to say something?
No, I had lost my internet, and when I came back, I didn't push the mute button.
Oh, okay. Well, hi, Paul. It's good to hear from you.
It's good to hear from everybody. Everybody's so positive. This is a good opportunity. It shakes up things. It's unsettling, but I recall when I came out in '75 that it was not a good time then either.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a while ago. And I had a good career. So you'll all survive. You just don't know what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. And Paul, you are still strategizing and talking with students, right?
Absolutely. Anybody want to talk? Have Zoom will travel kind of thing. And I have a survey running about people that are having jobs that might have been rescinded. So I'm trying to measure what has happened with jobs or internships. So, we're looking for that. So anybody that can give me information would be really good.
Yeah, sounds great. If I can give any advice, like any parting advice as a graduating senior, it's to check your email, because there will always be an opportunity in your email. So remember that.
I'm sorry there's so many.
Hey, but if you sift through them, you are going to find something for you. So
there you go.
All right. Anybody else want to drop some knowledge on us, or have we had a good run, everybody? All right, it looks like we've had a good run. Well, thank you everyone who came in and participated. Thank you to our panelists. This has actually been fantastic. Gave me something to get ready for. I haven't looked like a person in a long time. I don't know if you all can relate to that as well, but I appreciate your time. So thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. I had to think about what day it was.